Hi, this is Vikas. So in this video we're going to talk about service accounts in Google Cloud Platform. So we'll check what is service account in Google Cloud Platform. We will check what are the types of service account, how we can modify the service account, and we'll see a use case demo in the Google Cloud Console. And these are the commands we'll discuss later what we'll do. So first let's see what are the service account. So as it's a Google definition, so service account is a special kind of account used by an application or virtual machine instance, not a person. So the difference between the service account and the normal user account is user account is a human account, service accounts are non-human programmatic accounts. So these accounts are the programmatic accounts. They are used by the programs or applications, for example virtual machines, to interact with other services using the API calls. So that is the difference between service account and normal IAM account. Now what are the types of service account? There are majorly two types, like user managed and Google managed. As the name says, user managed accounts are the accounts which are totally managed by the user. So user's responsibility is to give the IAM roles and scope defined for the service account, give them the required permissions. And then Google managed is those accounts which are managed by Google only. There's one thing called default service account. This is sort of special service accounts which are created by Google. For example, once you create and try to enable the VM APIs, virtual machines, so that you can create the virtual machines, the Google will default create a service account for the compute services. So that default service account will be used once you create a VM. So that is, these are the types of two accounts. Then these are the CLIs. So whatever we do using the web console, we can do the same thing using the CLI, using the G Cloud SDK or the Cloud Shell. So we'll discuss about these commands. These are the same thing which will do the component on the web. So first, let's go to the web. Let's create a service account and modify it. So for the service account, you go to the hamburger menu, come to the IAM section. Within IAM, you click on service accounts. So currently I am in the service account, and this is the default service account I was talking about. You see, this is the compute engine default service account which is created by the Google. So this is the default. This is one of the service account which I have created for some of my application for Terraform. So let's say I want to write the Terraform code and deploy the infrastructure using Terraform. So that is why the service accounts are very important. So I am using this service account for my Terraform application, and I have these keys to authenticate. So I am writing those Terraform code in my local machine, and I am pushing those code using this service account and these keys to authenticate, and then it is deploying the infrastructure in Google Cloud. So we're going to create a fresh service account from the scratch. So just click on create service account. So we're going to create a service account. Let's do SA hyphen, let's say, yeah, any name we can do, 01. So service account 01. You can give any name, right? So this is the account ID is default generated. You can give it a description. This is test. This is testing. This is test. That's it. All right. So yeah, I've given a name. ID, account ID is automatically generated by the Google, an account ID, and then your project @project, and then iam.gserviceaccount.com. This comes to your service account email ID. So you cannot change that. Let's create. Now my service account is created. Now in order to use this service account by any application, we need to give it a role. So we can give it a role right away. Let's, for the project, I'm going to give it a project viewer role, and let's say you want to interact with a bucket. So we can give some storage, maybe storage, full control of GCS, Google Cloud Storage. So you can give any computer storage admin, app engine admin. Let's say you want to interact with the app engine. Currently I'm going to give the storage admin. So in this service account, I have given two roles. One is the project viewer and one is storage admin. You can give as many as you want. You can here. If you want to remove, you just click on this pin. Those service account will be removed. So currently I have given two permissions. Let's continue. Okay, so policies are updated. Now as I said, so this service account will be used by some of the application or virtual machines. If you want to grant some of the users the access to this service account, you can give it here. You can start typing the name here, and you can give, you see, so anything you can give it there. Currently I don't need it, so I don't need, just done. So I have created a service account, I have given two permissions, and now let's test it. So before testing, I'll show you my in the storage section. I'm in the cloud storage section, so you can come here, come down to the storage. Under storage, you do the browse, you'll come here. I have a bucket name is test-bucket-july, and there are currently two files. So within my storage section I have two files. Alright, okay, now let's create virtual machines. So we will test the service account. So first let's create a virtual machine using the default service account. So compute engine VM instance. As I showed you earlier, there is a default service account already created via Google. So we'll see what is the difference and what is the advantages of using service accounts. Because service accounts you have full control, because it's a custom role you created, you have full control, you can give the required permission. So I'm using a default test string, everything should be default. For machine type I'm gonna go for the minimum one, anyways I'm using the free tier. Let's come down, everything let it by default. So here is the important section for service account. You see identity and API access. So currently it is using compute engine default. If you click on it, you will see my service account. One is the Terraform, and this is the service account which we just created, SA01-294 at GCP. SA01 is the name, this is the email address. But with this VM, let's use the default service account created by Google. We'll see the limitations. So I've selected the default service account, everything is same. Let's hit create. So this account is created, this virtual machine is created using the default service account. So it has a default permission, what the default service account has. So once this instance is created, it's created, we'll SSH into it. So we'll log into this virtual machine. So once we log into this virtual machine, we will test. Since it is a default service account, we'll test how it can interact with the bucket. So currently we'll see, do we have any files here? No. So, and if you want to see, let's say you logged into a machine and you want to see which service account or which account it is using, there's a simple command gcloud config list. You type this command, it will give you the details. So this is the service account. This is my account ID compute@developer.gservice. This is a default service account, and this is the project I am in. Cool. Alright, so let's test. So let's say I already have given it the permission for the storage. So let's test. So to interact with the storage, we have a utility called gsutil. So I'm gonna use gsutil ls, and then I'm gonna see the content. Let's say from the virtual machine I would like to see the content of my bucket. So the command will be gsutil ls, as you know, and your bucket name. So bucket name will always be prefixed by gs, that is Google storage, and then hit enter. Alright, so I see these two objects. So I'm able to access the files from the VM and from my current virtual machine, and I'm able to get the files from the storage. Okay, let's create a new file so that we'll see, because most of the time this is like very much practical. Your application needs to write some file to the storage. So let's take file01.txt. So I'm creating an empty file. Alright, and if you see, this file is created here. Okay, so currently only one file, file01.txt, and let's say okay, and before I want to write that file, let's say whether we are able to get the files which are already in my cloud bucket to this virtual machine. As right now it has only one file, file01. Okay, so let's say again we use gsutil command. I want to copy the files which are in my bucket. So command will be cp. From where I'm going to copy, I'm going to use the bucket name. My bucket name is this bucket. That is my bucket name. Okay, I want to copy everything. Where I want to copy? Right here. So dot is the current directory. Hit enter. Alright, looks like it's copied. If you do again ls-, now I see 3 copies. These 2 files are bucket. This is what I have created right now. If you want to verify, you can come here. So there are two files. Okay, now come back here. So let's say and remember this VM is using the default service account. Let's say I want to upload this file 01 to the cloud storage. So the command will be same, gsutil. I want to copy which file? This test file. Where I'm gonna copy? I'm gonna copy it to my bucket, which is test bucket. Let's see. It says access denied. That means using the default service account, I can read the file from the bucket. I can list the bucket, but I cannot write to the bucket. That means I cannot upload any file to my cloud storage. Now that is a limitation of default service account. We can add the permissions to it, or let's go back to the cloud platform here. So we can add the permission to this instance. So we'll click on it. We can edit. We can edit the configurations, and then we can add the roles and permissions to the default service account. But then we need to refresh and we need to wait for a moment. But in order to do the difference, we'll quickly create a new instance and assign it the custom service account which we created. So let's create a new VM. Name is name2, that's fine. Instance 2. Okay, machine type again. Let's get to the minimum one. Now in this section you see identity and API access. This time we will select the service account which you have created, SA01. In this service account, remember we have given project viewer and cloud storage admin permissions. So let's create. So now I'm creating a VM using the service account which I have created, and I have applied the permissions based on my application requirement. So because earlier I am not able to write the files to cloud bucket, as you see, because it's insufficient permission. Now I'm logging into the instance 2. You can SSH from here using, or you can SSH from the gcloud SDK. We can discuss this maybe on the later series or section. So now my VM is getting created using the service account which I have created, and I have given the permissions storage admin and project viewer, because my objective was to write the files to the bucket. So again, first let's say you want to see which account it is using. So you can type gcloud config. You see it is using SA service account 01. This is the service account which I have created, followed by your project ID and iam.gserviceaccount.com. Cool. So you see, do we have any files here? No. Let's create a file quickly. Test file. Okay, so I have created a file. Now I want to upload that file to, because it's a storage admin, so we are sure it should work. We'll try. gsutil is the command. cp which file I want to upload to the bucket, the file which I just created, to the cloud storage bucket. My bucket name is test bucket hyphen. That is my bucket name. Now hit enter. Alright, so it says operation completed. So using this service account, I am able to write to the bucket and send the file which I created from this VM to the bucket. You can verify it. Go to the bucket section. There are two files. Just refresh. So once it is refreshed, you will see the new file is being pushed to the bucket. Alright, now we see the test file is already pushed to the bucket. So that is how you interact with service account. The same thing which we did via the console, we can do it via the command line using the same thing. gcloud IAM service account, create your account name, description, you can give it a name, you can give it a display name like we give an SA01. Then you can check the service account list, you can rename, you can enable, disable, everything you can do via the gcloud commands. Also we can add IAM policy like the roles we have given, the admin role, the project viewer role, everything we can do via the command line also. So I think that's it for the video. For the any details, if you have any confusion, you can let me know. I will provide the details and the documentation also. If you need these commands, please let me know. I will forward you all the commands with the details how you can use the gcloud command. Till then, thank you.